Hey friends, Mrs. Homily here for our mindful moment. Good to see all of you. Again, mindfulness is noticing my thoughts, my feelings, and everything around me. And we are starting with a new mindfulness skill today, and that one is reframing. Actually, just already put it on there. So we've been learning about quieting, seeing. Today is about reframing. And you're like, what is reframing? Well, let's think about that. Reframing is changing the way you think about or feel about a situation. So if you kind of grumbled about something before, somebody might say, well, Brian, find the bright side of things. Like, yeah, that seems kind of crummy, but what's something good that came out of it? So for example, many of us were home during the COVID-19 pandemic in the spring of 2020, and that was really tough for a lot of people. However, something good that came out of it is that I got to see my family more. So do you see how I reframe that? Like, difficult situation, but there was a good thing that came out of it, which was more time with my family. And so we're going to talk about reframing today. I actually have a little science experiment, or a science demonstration, I guess you would say, for today to talk about reframing. So let's get started. Reframing. So let's pretend this bag is you. And this is you, the student. And we're going to add all the very important things in your life to that bag. This is your family relationships, your friendships, really important stuff like that. Your health, how you feel about yourself, that sort of thing. So the bag is the student, it's you, and the water is things, priorities, or things that are important to you. I'm actually going to zip this shut. It's going to make my life a little easier, okay? Now, what if I maybe have some well, we all have challenges, right? Like, we have stressors, that things that happen to us. Stressors might be feeling rushed when I woke up kind of late for school. So I'm going to just poke that in there. Whoops, I went a little too far. Getting my shirt wet now too. And I'm going to add an argument with my sister. Okay. And what else? I'm going to add, thinking I'm not very good at something. Okay, there you go. Boy, I've got lots of things. So I've got lots of stressors happening in my life. My life. Well, that's pretty tough. It's tough to deal with. And some kids, when they get really stressed, they make some not so good decisions. Well, dun dun dun, we're going to change our thinking. We're going to reframe our situation. I'm making a hot mess here. And I'm going to add some helpers to my life. I'm going to think about all the adults that care about me and make me feel good about life. I am going to reframe, and even though situations are difficult, I'm going to try to find something positive that came out of my day, not just the negative things. Let's stir this up a little bit. Can you notice what's happening to all those priorities? The water could have been dripping out before. And here's what I noticed. Even though I have all these stressors, all these pencils coming out of life, It kind of depends on how I deal with those stressors, of whether what was the water before, whether those still stay in my life. Like if I get too stressed out or if I get too anxious about something, then my health and my relationships and how I feel about myself can maybe be affected. Well, when I think about all the positive things that I have in my life, and when I use positive self-talk, when I say, you know what, Mrs. Homily, yeah, you don't always get everything right the first time, but you learn from your mistakes and you do it better the next time, and you just keep trying. Well, look what happened. My priorities, myself as a student, I am stronger. So if I would take these pencils out, the water doesn't leak out. That's pretty cool. And what I added was positive thinking, reframing. And that's really important for us to do, add positive thinking to our life. We could always go through life and situations and say, ugh, this is going to be awful. This is going to be the worst thing ever. Or we can look at it and say, you know what? I'm kind of nervous about this, but I'm going to try my hardest, and I'm going to have a growth mindset and say, I might not get this yet, or I'm not good at this yet. And when I have a growth mindset and positive thinking, and I use reframing things, and I change the way I think about or I feel about a situation, wow, look at how much stronger I am as a student. And my priorities, the stuff that's important to me, stays in place, just like this. Now, I bet you're wondering, what is this stuff? Well, the compound name of this is sodium polyacrylate. Say it with me. Sodium polyacrylate. You know what it is? It's the stuff in babies' diapers. These little beads, by the process of osmosis, the beads soak up water around them, and so what was a liquid is now more like a solid. And just like a baby's diaper that gets wet, these little beads are in the diaper, soaks up the baby's, stuff that comes out of a baby, and soaks it up in the diaper so that they stay drier. Pretty cool, huh? Sodium polyacrylate. And so that is what we are learning about today with reframing. Positive thinking, looking at the situation a little differently, can help me to be mindful and grateful. I appreciate the things around me as I go through life. And you know what? The stressors just don't feel quite as big of a deal. They're still stressors, but I don't have to lie awake at night and say, oh, I made such a big mistake. No one's ever going to like me. No, that's not true. I made a mistake. Yep, you do too. We all do. Adults do too. Reframing is super, super important. All right. So let's do a mindful game card here. This is called 3 Things in Common. We're going to talk about reframing as it relates to relationships, all right? Now, this is really important. For this activity, I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to think. I don't want you to say any names out loud because that could be really hurtful, all right? Just think it in your head. Think of someone with whom you've had a disagreement with before. So say you kind of argued about something. Don't say their name. Just think it in your head. Think about how you feel about them. How do you think they might feel about you? I bet you both have something in common. Quickly name 3 things that are the same about the two of you. Think about your grades, think about your age, think about if they're a family member. So somebody who you've had a disagreement with, but name 3 things that the two of you have in common that's the same about the two of you. Now, just a reminder that people we love the most, family members, that kind of thing, might also be the ones who annoy us the most. This can be an important thing to think about, that we know them the best, but they do love us the most. So think about your loved ones. Okay. And so this is kind of a fun little bird graphic. This is called a Venn diagram, where on the image, the two birds are realizing what they both have in common. All right. Okay, everybody, let's just review with Noah here quickly. Whoops. Noack, we are talking about reframing. Reframing is changing the way I think and feel about a situation, an important mindfulness life skill to help us to feel calm and happy, and we appreciate things in our life. And so our mindfulness, again, is noticing my thoughts, my feelings, and everything around me. And we have been talking about our 6 mindfulness life skills of quieting, seeing, reframing, which is the one we're on today, focusing, caring, connecting. All right, friends, have a great day.